We're all set.
All right. Good evening. This is the September 19th, 2024 edition of the Economic and Community Development Meeting. With us tonight, council members Jim Frayer, Lisa Shanahan, Jalen Seed, Darlene Young, and Heather Dunn from the committee. I also want to acknowledge that council member DeJuan Wiggins is here. He's not a committee member, but I want his presence noted for the minutes. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to participate? I see Nicole Eady's a attendee. She should be made a panelist because she's also a council member. So please also note her that she's present for the minutes. Going once?
Yeah, no one's raising their hand, Josh.
Yep.
I promoted Nicole, so.
Okay, so I think we can close public participation. Administration, so we have to approve. So first, the minutes for the August 1st regular meeting, and obviously what they mean by regular meeting is the meeting of ECD, not the joint meeting. And I saw Lisa had her hand up. Any corrections, deletions, anything along those lines? Okay. I'm sorry, I just want to check one thing. Yep. Just one quick thing on the top of the meeting minutes. It just Barbara Smith's name is spelled incorrectly. It's S-M-Y-T-H, not S-M-I-T-H. I didn't see anything else unless anyone's got anything. I'm ready to vote. All in favor? Okay, passes unanimously. Now the minutes for the August 1st special joint meeting. I realized, I'm sorry. Nicole E's got her hands up. So since she is a member, I think, of the ad hoc committee of affordable housing, I think it's actually appropriate for her to move on this one. So I assume that's why Nicole's raising her hand, right, Nicole?
Yes. Hey, Josh. Thank you.
Hey.
I just want to give the correction for the spelling of my last name in the attendance section. Yep, on page 7.
There seems to be there are a bunch. I saw that.
Yeah, and then page 10 on the second paragraph. It was
okay. So in terms of attendance, Nicole Eady's name is spelled incorrectly. For starters, it's E-A-D-D-Y, and then Nicole with I forgot the punctuation.
Yeah, that's fine. Just the last name is
yeah, and then in a surprise to no one, Nora Najelski-Neichner's name is spelled wrong.
Sure.
And then you said page 10?
Yes, the second paragraph. It's in there a couple of times.
Okay, so she means page 10 of the PDF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so second paragraph, same spelling issues for her name. Does anyone else have any corrections, deletions, anything like that for the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay, that is unanimous. So our first item of the meeting, item tonight, new business, redevelopment agency. Number 1, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all documents for submission of the PY49 CAPER, C-A-P-E-R, to HUD. Do I have a motion? Jalen Seed raised his hand first. Stephen Iman from RDA is here. Stephen, I wanted you to, if you would like to say a few words about this item.
Yep.
And obviously both of these, 1 and 2, are both related to the CDBG process, but let's do it one at a time.
Sure. So for our first item, we have the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, that's otherwise known as the CAPER. It is a yearly report that is due to HUD at the end of every program year to give a brief recap of how we've spent our CDBG funds throughout the year, the dollar amount, what categories those are separated into, the resource narrative provided in the memo explains that at a very high level for a brief recap, and then throughout the CAPER, there's several different sections that are reported on. So this summarizes the prior year activities that we've done through CDBG, including independent city projects that are funded through CDBG or approved subrecipients that were selected for funding throughout the year. So on a very high level note, that is the CAPER for anybody who's not familiar with it. And as a final comment on this, there were no comments received leading up to the meeting. The comment period ended on the 17th, and there just wasn't time in between when the memos were due to update that for final notice. So as a brief note, there were no comments received during the public comment period nor the public hearing.
Okay, and just for this particular item, this is not for the future. This is about the past year.
Correct.
And I assume this report is something we have to do for the federal government, for housing and urban development.
Correct. We have 90 days after the program year ends, which is June 30th. That puts this due, I believe it's the 28th or the 29th, and that is why we're looking to move this forward to the council meeting on the 24th for approval for submission to HUD.
Okay. Do any council members have any questions? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor of taking this item to the council? That's unanimous. Okay, so now Stephen, let me read it first, but item 2, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute an agreement for a 5-year extension of the contract designating the Norwalk Redevelopment Agency as the administrator of the city's annual CDBG entitlement grant. Do I have a motion for this item? Councilmember Young, Council President Young, my mistake. Stephen?
Yep. So the way that we've been operating with the city as the administrator of the CDBG funding, the 5-year or the agreement that's proposed is just to renew that authorization to allow us to act in accordance with the city and the similar processes that you guys have seen. We do need to renew the authorization in order to advance forward. HUD is requesting this as part of the yearly process since it is due for renewal. The previous agreement back in 2019 was drafted by Darren Callahan. We'll propose the same thing to them with authorization from the ECD committee and Common Council. We'll take care of the legal request to the city and have a almost identical agreement as the last time around. So this one's, I think, relatively basic. If you guys have any questions about this, we're happy to answer anything. If there's any questions about the amount of time, or you're looking to extend the amount of time to maybe do this a little bit less often, we're also open to that. Just in order to not, mix things up, we've submitted the same 5-year extension as the previous term.
Do any council members have any questions? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor? Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so now we're moving on to 2B, Economic and Community Development. Item 1, authorize the purchase of a 2024 Pac-Man landing craft for the Harbor Master from Munson Boats in an amount not to exceed $198,149 via sole source procurement, account number noted. I see that Owen Lee is here to discuss this item. And Owen, I want to give you the opportunity to discuss, brief us on this item.
We have to move this first?
Oh, yeah. I always forget this. Lisa.
I always forget.
You know what? It's usually Barbara who reminds me. So
yeah,
Jen,
I know.
I appreciate the save. I'm not perfect. I do my best.
That's what I tell Barbara.
But it is so moved. Owen, the floor is yours.
Hello. I'm Owen Lee, the Deputy Harbor Master for the City of Norwalk. The City of Norwalk Harbor Commission and Harbor Master are looking to purchase a Munson landing craft style boat to replace our 28-year-old vessel, or more actually, that's currently in use. And this vessel would do many things for us, one of which is it would allow us to not only beach a vessel and effectively take people off islands and things like that, but it'll allow us to move many of our moorings that we have in an emergency around. And the vessel is considerable in size to the same vessel to what we currently utilize. And it'll be aluminum vessel, so we can leave it in the water without worrying about any frost issues or any hull plugs blowing or anything like that. So it would greatly improve not only the Harbor Commission management standpoint, but also a law enforcement standpoint as well.
Thank you, Owen. I see Councilmember Freyer's got his hand up. Jim?
Yes, thank you, Owen. Owen and I had a nice conversation about this the other day, because I was a little skeptical about the need for this kind of a design, but he gave me enough information that I fully back this. I think it's if anybody is stuck on those islands, or if you have to get to one of the islands, it's not always easy to beach a normal boat. So having the door that will flop down on the shore, you can get over any rocks or anything, which anybody that's been to any of the islands knows there's plenty of rocks to climb over. So I think it's very good. Also, it has a davit on board that will be able to lift moorings and move moorings around when the need arises, which the current vessel it does not have. This has a lot more safety equipment on it. It's a rugged boat. I've seen videos of it, and I think it's probably the right way to go. And it's also, in the great scheme of things, relatively inexpensive, even at $200,000. The only reservation, and I think Owen would agree with me, is that for maintenance of this, the city should probably start to look at maybe a designated marina to do the maintenance and include not only this vessel, but the police boats and the fire boats as well. All too often, I think the police, firemen, and the harbor manager may do some of the maintenance work on their own. There's no documentation of what it was done, how much it cost, or anything like that. And so I think it makes sense. Also, the fact that we're having to pay for a trailer that's only going to be used periodically when we take the boat out, we could very easily get a marina just to haul all the boats that we have out, and save the expensive storage of trailers, which we have some over at the DPW yard and scattered around the city anyway. So I'm all in favor. I think it's a good deal, but I think that we should look into some kind of a centralized maintenance facility for our fleets.
Owen, I just want to give you the opportunity, if you had any response or any information any other context you'd like to provide in response to what Councilmember Freyer brought up.
No, it makes complete sense. Currently, the vessel that the Harbor Commission has in the water, we pay every time it needs maintenance to be hauled. If we had something in place, we would obviously get a break on the hauling fee and all of that. So as far as that vessel is concerned, that if something was put into place, some kind of schedule, I'm sure we would save money down the road.
Council President Young.
Oh, thank you. So we only have the one that you were talking about we're replacing now? Is that how that's working?
That's correct. With the Harbor Master vessel is a 23-foot vessel that was commissioned, I want to say in 1991 or 1992, and it was purchased by the police department and handed to the Harbor Commission. At some
And so the life expectancy of this is about the same?
The life expectancy of we're over its life expectancy in my estimation by at least 6 or 7 years. The vessel that's currently in the water is in need of replacement for sure.
Charlene, was your question about the new vessel?
And the new vessel.
Oh, the new I'm sorry. The new
okay.
vessel is a 15 to 20 year investment for sure.
Right. And what do we do with the old one?
Well, that's the city's prerogative. Usually the vessels get auctioned. And
Which I believe we've done with old police boats. That's a common practice that the city's engaged in for a very long time.
that's correct. The last decommissioned police vessel was sold 2 years ago at auction.
Yeah.
The reality here, however, is probably we're going to have to pay to get rid of it.
Oh,
Unfortunately, that is the reality. It does have a replacement motor that we put on it this year because we had to have something in the water. It has a Yamaha 150 on it, but the vessel is in need of repair.
And I would imagine, I mean, is there any value in terms of stripping it for parts, or is there any real value?
The value is in the motor. The value is the motor is probably worth $6,000 to $7,000. The vessel, not so much.
Is there anything to, and I just realized I'm vamping here. Would that motor would be usable on the new boat, or is that not a feasible repurposing?
No, the motor that's on the vessel is a used motor with significant hours. It is operable.
Okay.
Not only that, it's not an electronic steering, nor is it an electronic throttle control. It's all cables. And
Old school.
correct.
I think Owen's being kind of generous with a $6,000 selling price on that.
That's okay. I mean, that is what it is. Okay. Do any council members have any additional questions about the boat?
to get here. So what's the process? How long for delivery? Because we don't have it. How long does that take?
Unfortunately, we have to get on the schedule, and we won't know until we get on the schedule. The smaller boats are usually slipped in throughout their production line. You know, they want to put out 30 and 40-foot boats. They can slip a 23 or a 24 in pretty easily. The problem is we just don't know until we get on the schedule to see what they have for orders and where they could put us. What I can tell you, you know, from my experience regarding boat deliveries, you're looking at 6 to 12 months, and that's conservative.
Wow.
So best case scenario, it's in the water next summer. Worst case scenario, 2026. Give or take.
Correct.
And does it, that just got me thinking about another question. So the vessel you have now will last that long? I mean, with maintenance and the things that you do, or do you think it's about done and we don't have that type of vessel?
I can't give you a guarantee on a 30-year-old vessel. The motor went, the motor that was on it previous to the 150 replacement went, and we put a replacement on the vessel just to get it going. I can't give you any guarantees on a used motor. Do I think that it'll make it? The motor sounds strong, but I don't know its history prior to us putting it on the vessel.
What would be the option? What would be the contingency plan if, God forbid, we find out? Because I think this is where Darlene's going, which is we put in the purchase order, a down payment or a purchase order on the new boat. It takes 12 months to get here. We now have a boat that may or may not work next summer. Is there a contingency plan for like a rental or something, a stopgap that would get us through next season, theoretically?
Thank you, Josh.
Absolutely. So the stopgap, I'm actually the Marine police officer as well. So the stopgap is to utilize one of the Marine police vessels for that purpose. And as small as, I shouldn't say that, as frequently as the police vessels go out and we utilize them, I'm on the water every day. So I can perform some of those tasks through my everyday, being on the water.
The other thing too is that I think what Owen is talking about is emergencies where we need somebody to go out. And I should also note that, Josh, you've mentioned a couple of times about next summer, this boat will be in the water. This boat is in the water 365 days of the year, 24/7. So, it's not a seasonal type thing. But I mean, in case of an emergency, we do have the police and the fire that have vessels in the water. The other thing that does come up is that there are emergencies that come up where you may need a mooring that has to be moved. And a mooring is typically a 500-pound mushroom anchor that's sitting at the bottom holding a boat. Maybe it's a bigger boat gets on there and starts to drag it, and it has to be picked up and moved someplace else. In that case, there are other services in the city that can come and move those moorings around, replace the moorings. But once again, then the city has to pay for that service, and they're not going to be able to do it. The reaction time, correct me if I'm wrong, Owen, you mentioned it could be 2 weeks, could be a month sometimes. We have to wait until they can fit you into their schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. If a mooring is dragged off station, it could potentially be in a channel, and it's a hazard. And so when we find those hazards, we need to be able to move them immediately. And sometimes it's not immediate if we have to use a service.
Councilmember Seed.
So with those, sorry, just me not knowing, with these services, like if we have to do a rescue or we have to replace or change a mooring, is there a fee that's charged to the person that we have to rescue or the boat that we have to change? Is there a fee structure? I know like the Coast Guard, they charge if they have to go out and do a rescue.
So to my knowledge, the Coast Guard does not charge, nor do we. The city of Norwalk doesn't charge for any rescues. If there is a vessel on an island that has beached itself due to negligence or something like that, the city tries to recoup those funds from that individual. But as far as a rescue or moving a mooring 25 feet left or right, there is no fee associated with that I know of.
If a boat does get disabled out in the harbor, there is a sea tow that'll go out and tow them in, but that's what they will have to pay for.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? If not, then I will call for a vote. All in favor? This item passes unanimously. Thank you, Owen.
Thanks,
Thank
Owen.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 4, and our last item for this evening. Authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to enter an agreement with ARC Document Solutions, LLC for document digitization and cataloging in an amount not to exceed $284,995.50. Do I have a motion? Lisa. Sabrina. This is yours, right?
Yes, it is. So I'm here to present tonight the document digitization project. So we actually touched on this, I believe it was 2 meetings ago when we were talking about the online permitting and licensing process that the city is embarking on. So this is a piece of that project that actually was originally requested in the 2021 capital budget with planning and zoning, but with a pairing of some ARPA funding, we were able to put out a larger kind of RFP to ask a company to come in for us and scan all the documents that we have related to properties and property owners. So this includes field cards, which is our first priority, site plans and any development plans and building permits or zoning permits that we may have. The goal really is if somebody goes onto our new permitting and licensing system software, they can type in their property address and not only see all the permits that have been pulled in there, but also see kind of a site map of what their property looks like, any deed information. We have documentation going back since the beginning of time almost. They're almost endless. There's a significant amount of them, plus all the newer documents that we're getting as properties are developing. So we will have a company come in. That company will then take the documents off site, but they will immediately scan them. And once they are scanned, they are immediately available to staff. So there's no real gap time besides travel time if somebody were needing to get a document right away, which is actually really beneficial because it gives us a larger cost savings, but also it digitizes in real time. So it's not like we're losing out on a bunch of documents for a couple of months and then they're all coming back into a system. It's immediately available to us. Some things that I should mention are you'll see the price point on the RFP and in their responses varies a little bit per document. This has to do with colored documents. Some you can do in black and white, and that's totally fine. Some were signed in pencils of different colors from years ago, which is how they did that. Same thing with kind of those pink paper copies that we all know and love when you used to write in pen and get a copy for yourself. So some of those documents do need to be scanned in full color. But the benefit to all of this as well is once all of these are scanned and completed and they're in the system, not only will they be scanned so you can open them up and visually look at them, but you can also search them. They'll all be PDF searchable documents now, which is also really beneficial for a homeowner or staff that would like to go into the system and specifically look for one thing within a document instead of to have to look through multiple documents to get the answer. So all in all, it's going to create a real large efficiency benefit to staff, but also to homeowners who might usually have to come into City Hall to look for these types of things. So we're really excited to get this started. This is going to be a large chunk of the documents that we do have. We're prioritizing the building permits and the field cards first, since they go back so long, but also they're usually the most the main documents that we need on a day-to-day basis to look for that are usually somewhere in City Hall that staff has to go and physically get that document, pull the file, and then be able to read that file. So we're excited to be able to search it up and be able to get all the information that we may need. So if you have any questions, that's kind of the gist of it. And like I said, about 2 weeks ago, this is part of that larger project where Jessica had mentioned there was a $2 million effort to digitize all permitting and licensing. So this is just a portion of that.
I just want to add the digitization of field cards. I really can't think of something more important in terms of this project. I mean, there is literally a room in City Hall that has all of these field cards, and they're so important. And the fact that they are sitting in file cabinets, not only in City Hall, but frankly, I think in other buildings around this, in city-owned buildings too, like that is very nerve-wracking. This is a long time coming. So I know we voted on this part of the project a couple months ago, but this is part of a multi-million-dollar effort to upgrade massively this whole process for businesses, residents, everything in between. Any questions? Comments?
No questions.
Shanahan.
We've been talking about this for as long as I've been on council. So thank you so very much for getting this underway because it's really important work.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. It's going to be really great.
Any other questions, comments from council members? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor of taking this to the council? That is unanimous. With that, there's only one more motion left. Who wants to make it? Councilmember Shanahan.
Motion to adjourn.
I like that.
All right. 7:33. Nice job, team.
Good job, Chair.
See
Take
you
care.
later.